Morning troops, how are you? The herd. Hello and welcome to the Hoof GP. Today we're up early. We're out and about trimming Holstein cows, and I'm going to be talking about these cows' feet and why these problems can be easily overcome if you know how and you've had the right training. This is the Hoof GP. If you haven't already done it, please think about subscribing because we are on our way to 600,000 of you bunch following us. It'd be really nice if you joined the herd. So look, we need to chat. By the time you usually see me, I'm covered in excrement. But actually, we always start the day off spotless. Even the crush is spotless as well. This farm is an easy morning for us. We usually have great feet here. And so do the cows. Whether a cow's foot has unbelievable toe necrosis, a huge dermatitis lesion on the back of it, the biggest ulcer you've ever seen in your life, or it looks just like this one in the picture, we trim them in exactly the same way, every single time. I've been going to this farm every 2 weeks for the past 8 years, and their feet are very, very good now. And that's not because I'm doing anything special. I'm following a set of instructions that was laid out over 50 years ago. In Holland, during the late 1960s and early 70s, there was a guy called Dr. Toussaint Raven, and Toussaint Raven had a serious foot fetish. So much so actually that he shared his knowledge with the world, and he first developed the 5-step Dutch method of trimming, which interestingly enough, the Dutch call functional hoof trimming, not the Dutch method. Throughout the world there are many different styles of hoof trimming, but most of the styles originate from the original 5-step method laid out by Raven and have been altered to suit the climate or environment the cows are living in. You know, by the way, it's not all sweetness and honey. We do have some terrible days. No, not like terrible days like your terrible days, like triple lap. No, quadruplet. What is functional trimming though? Well, if you look at this cow's foot, I am not going to make the soles of her feet completely white, although admittedly if I did, it would look very pretty, and look like I'd done a good job. But really, we'd have done this cow a disservice. We are trying to make sure that the soles of her feet are completely flat, level and even in every direction. And then we're modelling out the sole ulcer site to alleviate the pressure on that part. Oh, dirty! Moving on. No matter what I'm doing in life, I always have a hunger to know every little detail about every aspect of whatever it is I'm doing. And when it comes to hoof care, the limits seem almost boundless. I know a huge amount about the anatomy, both internally and externally, about the foot, but I still feel like I'm learning every single day. It's pretty warm this morning. It's about 4:20, 20 past 4. How are you this morning, Craig?
I'm okay, a little tired, but okay.
Years ago, I trained with a company called Embryonics. There are people all over the world that provide training days. And Embryonics is a fantastic place down in south of England. South of England for me, probably north for everybody else. And I went there originally for a week. I loved it, it was brilliant. That first course at Embryonics was awesome for an introduction to hoof trimming. Came away from it being a professional hoof trimmer, but in my opinion, although it is a fantastic course, there was still more that could be learned, but not in the 4 days of that first week. Take this foot for instance. This cow has a corkscrew claw, and that's why the growth on the inner claw looks a bit strange. The pedal bone on the inside of her foot has started to rotate. Now we can trim this back, we can get all of the levels absolutely perfect and looking beautiful, but she will never be truly right. What caused it and what will her future hold? Well, I now know the answer to all of those questions and a lot more besides, but I've learnt them since I attended my very first hoof trimming course, where I was officially known as a professional hoof trimmer. But even with all the training in the world, sometimes cows' feet just don't heal up the first time around, so we got to give them another chance. We first trimmed this cow's foot 8 weeks ago, and she has made a slight amount of progress because she's gone from being a score 3 to score 2 lesion severity. In other words, how bad the problem is. So yes, she has improved very slightly, but she is definitely not out of the woods, and she's just about to look a lot worse than she does now. The Appleton steel is great at holding feet nice and firmly, so using the grinder here to do some delicate work isn't a problem. This most likely goes much deeper, but let's get a block on that before we treat that. Nice. This cow's white line problem is coming out the base of her foot. Yes, that's true. But curing that part of the foot is not really going to do her any good whatsoever. That's because the problem is emanating or originating from high up in the wall horn. So if we don't fix that part, all that's going to happen is it's going to keep descending, keep cracking, and keep causing this cow pain. So by removing all of this cracking hoof horn, we are removing the issue and hopefully setting the path for new sound horn to regrow. Throughout the entirety of my career as a hoof trimmer, I've always sought to make sure that I am right up to date with the latest research, and with that in mind, I attended a course in December at the Royal Agricultural University, hosted by Dr. Nick Bell, and people like Dr. Nick Bell are paving the way forward to reduce lameness throughout the world. I have a huge admiration for people like this, really helping us as hoof trimmers on the ground. With the best training and best will in the world, we cannot heal every cow with every problem on one single trim. We can almost heal every cow, full stop, if we give them enough time, enough revisits and enough care. And that is the key: revisit, training and as much care as possible. And that way we can overcome lameness in these cows. The farm we're on right now probably has a lameness percentage of about 2 or 3%. And we do have farms that are below 1% lameness. Now with the average lameness in the UK being over 25%, that is mental. We can do better, guys. More revisits, more trimming, more training, and we'll get there. But anyway, enough about that right now. I need some breakfast. Catch you later, guys. Bye now.